And welcome back. Here I am continuing on with the vertical stabilizer. I'm working on the rear spar in this video. Right here I'm getting all the brackets, the rudder brackets, the rudder hinges, I'm sorry. Making sure that they're the right ones, and again looking at plans and verifying. And then I pull out here this is the actual rear spar itself. And as I've said before, I don't intend to keep the bluing on any of the parts, especially the internals. But the skins are going to have to be scratched up enough as it is when I go to paint. And I'm not too concerned about getting them scratched in the meantime. And I figure anything that's going to gouge it deep enough to have to worry about replacing a part will go through the bluing anyway. So I've decided I'm not too worried about keeping the bluing on. So I've gotten the parts all ready. I'm starting to assemble the top rudder hinge brackets to the rear spar here. And you'll have to forgive me for the video angle. I'm still working on trying to find the best angle to record from. And this one, I need to work on zooming in a little bit, I think. So anyway, I get the number 12 bit here, and the holes are size 30, number 30, but I'm drilling it out to a number 12. That's a significant change in diameter hole. And even as I'm doing it, I just made the mistake right there, and I haven't realized it yet, but that was my mistake right there. Even as I'm drilling the hole, I'm thinking to myself, this is a pretty significant difference. But it doesn't quite click just yet that I had messed up. So here I am trying to get the rest of the hinge attached to the rear spar. And I continue to drill. Pull the hinge bracket back off because it's just not holding in place very well. And I thought maybe I was using the wrong Clecos. Still trying to learn the color schematic for the size on the Clecos. Anyway, it's like I said, it's still a learning process for me, and this is going to be the first of, I'm sure, many mistakes as I learn going through this process. So here I am looking at the instructions a little more. And I think now I'm starting to realize that I may have just messed up. And I look at it some more, and I look at what I drilled and how much I drilled into the rear spar. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way to recover from this for this piece. So I go through and I realize that the plans call out 6 times, and that's referring to the one larger hole in each bracket that holds the pin for the rudder. And so I commenced to drilling the correct hole on the remaining 5 brackets. And I made the decision that both the initial bracket that I drilled into and this rear spar, I actually ended up replacing both. I ordered new parts from Vans. So here you notice I tried a new angle. This is a little higher vantage point, trying to capture a little more of what I'm doing from overhead, trying to get a better view so you can see what I'm doing instead of the lower angle. I'm still gonna have to work on this a little bit, but hopefully I can, between this and I've since added a second GoPro camera to try to get various angles and get a little better close-up shots. So anyway, I'm continuing on with this is the front spar for the vertical stabilizer, and now I'm commencing to Cleco and then rivet the plate doubler to the front spar for the vertical stabilizer. And this is the first time that I'm getting to use the pneumatic squeezer, and it's a good tool. I like it. It's makes it a lot easier. It goes through pretty quickly. It was a little bit of a learning curve for me. I had the adjustable ram, and after these first couple of uses, it actually bent. So I'm going to talk to Cleveland Tools and see if maybe I can get that replaced with their lifetime warranty that they have on their parts. If not, my grandfather-in-law gave me a standard ram with it with spacers, and so I've since learned how to use the spacers, and I might just go ahead and use those. We'll see. It's an option either way. So here I am putting the plate doubler on and going through, making sure, again, since I just messed up, now I'm going through and reading the plans a little closer before I actually do anything. So this is my first rivet set. These are the flush mounted lower 6 rivets on that plate doubler, and then there's I believe 3 or 4 of the rounded head rivets just above that, so I get to play with both of those in this one plate doubler. And it was interesting. I'm still learning the proper shape of the rivet when you're complete. So it's something I'm gonna have to relook at, I think, just to make sure that those are indeed set correctly. But they looked okay. So the rest of this video is going to be me just working on this doubler on the front spar for the vertical stabilizer, and we'll see. It wasn't too terribly difficult to get through. I was actually pretty pleased with the outcome when I was done. So the one thing that I, looking back, realized that I forgot to do, however, is you'll notice that the parts are not primed. There's no primer on the parts here. I've made the decision to put primer on all of the ribs for the internals, and then the skins I put primer only in the areas where the ribs meet the skin. I'm not going to worry about putting primer, across the entire piece. It just adds weight. It's unnecessary. The aluminum already has I believe it's called Aladine or something to that effect, but it's got a aluminum coating on it already that inhibits corrosion as it is. The only parts I'm really worried about is where I actually cut into that protective layer while I'm dimpling or countersinking, things of that nature. So that's why I made the decision to go ahead. I'll do the entire ribs and whatnot on the internals just because they're small enough pieces, and then just the line where the ribs meet with the skins, just because I do cut into that metal. But other than that, it's unneeded and it just adds weight. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and let this video end. Again, thanks for watching.